That's great when it pulls away and it's kind of rooted itself in the chair. He intentionally blurs aspects of it. Did you notice something different about that?
The tiny detail.
I own you!
Great. Someone has been very helpful to us and has gone through the entire SINBAD movie just for the moments where Eris is on the screen. It's a curious thing. The best animation, the best character design and stuff usually ends up being with the bad guy, with the villain. The main character, the protagonist, is usually a little bit more down to earth, I guess so that people can relate to the main character more, but that makes for more boring designs and stuff. But with these bad guys, they really go to town and just make them super interesting, not just in their character design, but also in the way they move. And we can see this with Eris. How she forms like that. There's a lot of intensity in her expression when she opens her eyes fully to show the full iris, and they kind of use that in the character animation to add emphasis on a certain word in the sentence. To me, it really adds to the performance.
I pull one tiny thread and their whole world unravels into chaos.
Like that. I wish I had hair like that. Wouldn't that be so good? Ooh, whoa. Let me see that water again. We got some really masterful 2D effects animation for the water pouring into the bubble, and then it looks like this expanding bubble is 3D. So to composite it inside is really interesting. But I especially like the detail of the water being let into the bubble with SINBAD. Whoa! Did you notice something different about that? So normally when doing like flowy gestural animations, you lead with the body or the head. But in this one, what makes this really interesting is that the hands come first. The hands shoot out like this and form that archway, and then the head comes over the top. Wow. And then she comes to rest on the hands. I could watch that all day.
Eris, the goddess of discord.
Whoa. Look how she morphs. That's so cool. The hair, the whole time the hair is just moving. They don't let it rest for a moment.
It's a date then. So where were we?
He can't hold the dagger. Let's have a look at her hair again. I think we can learn a lot from that hair. So it's always like either in the process of picking up or dropping down. And when it does so, it creates these shapes like this. The hairs aren't drawn with individual strands. They're drawn as sort of tendrils. And so when you draw them as tendrils like that, it's much easier to control them and to keep account of them. This is something that most animators will know, but maybe some beginners don't know. A lot of the time with hair like this, you do the animation with the body first and then you draw the hair on later, especially if you want to get that nice flowy drag to your hair. And we can see that this is what William Salazar, one of the animators on SINBAD, has done in this clip. And in this clip we can really see, as an example, how the long hair acts as a sort of vessel for merging the character animation and the effects animation. The creators of Eris do a really good job explaining their process in this behind the scenes, so I'm going to let them do the talking here.
Very early on, we talked about Eris being sort of the product of her own thought, meaning that she could think about something and become that thing. She can think about moving someplace and she's just there. She morphs, she twists, she changes shapes.
Eris was the most challenging character in the movie.
Who's there?
Because just for the design of her, she appears and reappears, and so much of her was discovered in the animation.
The Eris effects by nature are almost like silk underwater or cream in coffee. It's unlike anything that has been done in a traditionally animated film before. She's just as much of an effect as she is a character.
In the same category of the animation world, we also have Hades, which is like my favorite bad guy animated character ever. So let's have a look at some of Hades' best scenes when he's lost his temper. God, they're so fast with it.
I got the concept.
You see how they like really like, and they do it really quickly, and also the color change that just makes it a lot more visceral.
Okay, fine.
I love that secondary one he did. Like, you see the little secondary ones. He goes what, and then he does a little extra one to finish. That's just brilliant, isn't it?
Okay, fine. I'm cool.
That's yes, I'm cool.
Rearrange the cosmos. And the one schlemiel who can louse it up is waltzing around in the world!
That's gotta be the best one. Oh, that was nice. Let's have a look at that again. It matches with the hand movement, so he goes like that. At the same time, it's actually the streaks that are created by his fingertips, which then he gathers up into the shape of a glass, ready for him to hold there. Very smooth movement. And then he's still looking that way, and just moves his face, which makes it comedic. That's very good.
The tiny detail.
I own you!
Great. I've already shown this on the channel before, but I think I can show it again, or at least show a little part of it. Everything here is painted by hand, and that includes whenever the surface of the water moves, reflects new things. He's all painted it with his fingertip. The way he animates is that he puts paint onto his fingertip, or he uses his fingertip to clear paint off of the slate, and he uses glass. It's kind of incomprehensible just how difficult this is, and how well he's pulled it off. Parts that I like that really stand out to me are when he does things with the animals. Turn into elephants. That's just magical. That's what animation should be used for. Things like that. Look at how he intentionally blurs aspects of it, and that way he's able to create this lovely depth of field effect that you can't quite get in any other way. You can't get that from camera lens or any digital kind of reconstruction. You have to smudge it like that.
Of such a fish, and now we are joined together.
Oh, yeah, he's glowing, and that movement, just like a fish, just like a whale. Oh. It's the best. It's the best. It's such an individual style. He's the only one who can really do it in this way. There's no one else who can pull this off like Alexander Petrov. So he's done everything in here. The only thing he hasn't done is like the camera operator, and he's got some assistants to do certain things to make the task more streamlined, but no one can step in and do in-betweens for him, or no one can take care of one scene or another. And it's a 20-minute film, and he's done it all himself. That is some dedication.
I will stay with you until I'm dead.
That line going taut, like he said that the old man is kind of like him. He saw that in this story as kind of like his own story, and he wanted to prove to himself that he could take on such a big task of making a film like this. I think that's so inspiring. Gonna watch a bit of Akira, one of the most famous animated films of all time, one of the best animated films of all time, I'd say. Game-changing stuff. You know, this came out a long time ago, and films even nowadays struggle to live up to Akira. A lot of the animators who worked on Akira, they've now gone on to be very successful animators in in the anime industry. In fact, so many of the big heavyweights of the anime industry now got their starts in Akira, or Akira was something they were involved in early on in their careers. So it went on to define a generation of animation media as we know it.
If you want it so bad, then steal one yourself.
Yeah. I love how the wheel spins and creates the dust. Such an iconic thing from Akira. And the electricity in the wheels is such a nice touch. Great choice of soundtrack. I mean, it's like, it's got these percussion, like almost like it's a jungle, but it's an urban area. Really, really cool. I love that shot of them all streaming, weaving around this car. That's such a nice detail. Having the pipe with the speed it's going along, when it comes up, it creates those sparks, and it just goes boom, boom, and it lifts it high up because of the speed of the ground. And I really like small details like that, and they've chosen to focus on that, and it's just such a kinetic movement, and really cool thing to give some focus to. Just showing the attention to detail in this film. If you go to this point and you go through it slowly, like frame by frame, you can see some interesting details. There it is, see that in that trash can, there's a body right there. All of the backgrounds as well have so much detail, and then it feels like a real place. You know, if you look at just the designs on like a shop front window, there's so much attention to detail in this. It's kind of insane. That's a really cool effect. The automated water jets are trying to put it out. That's really ambitious effects animation. Ah, I love that shot.
How do you like that?
Great composition. That's really nice. The beams coming down. Yeah. My favorite character in Akira.
The drugs we were using to keep him under
Oh
control
God.
are wearing off.
I'm not even sure if I want to watch this scene again. It's so gross. Viewer discretion is advised. No young kids should be watching this scene. It is disgusting.
That nursery and behave myself. Ah! You want to use chemicals to turn me into a humanoid like those other kids. Ah!
His arm is kind of like, they're kind of veins, but they're also kind of like wires and cables and technology and stuff. It's a really interesting blend there. That's great when it pulls away and it's kind of rooted itself in the chair. Tetsuo!
Tetsuo! Tetsuo! Tetsuo! Tetsuo! Tetsuo! Tetsuo!
Oh, it's so gross. Ooh. Come on, get him. Really well animated there. More expressions of just like, what am I looking at? Oh God, I can't watch. Ew. It's like he's got this chubby baby hands, but then the hands have more thumbs and fingers on them. It's so gross. Ew. Ew, 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 ew. No, 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 no. Great match cut there. Did you see the match cut of the small test version that the scientist has? It reaches out that way, and then it cuts to the main action doing the same movement. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for the Akira viewing. If you haven't seen the full film, I highly recommend it. It's really, really great. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. I really had a lot of fun looking at all these scenes again. This is kind of what I do a lot in my spare time, and I just thought I'll put the camera on and show you guys because I'm always gawking at amazing animation, and I figured it might be a fun shared experience. So if you haven't already, I'd invite you to subscribe to the channel because this channel is all about learning the art of animation. It's a journey that I am taking. I am kind of on a lifelong path to learning the art of animation, and I also seek to share as much of that as I can with you guys so that you can learn along with me, and it's really fun. And if that interests you, you should click the red button and subscribe. If you want to take it a step further than that and support this channel, you can support me on Patreon by pledging an amount of your choosing. And that really helps me. All the patrons so far who have pledged, they are really helping me to keep these videos coming out. And it's amazing to get that kind of support from you guys, so thank you. The link to that will be in the description as well, and a bunch of other interesting links, loads of important interesting links, so do check out the description and just read through them. Links to buy products and stuff as well. Yeah, check them out. Alright, that's it for this week. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.